Welcome to Shadow Case Files, where the darkest mysteries are never forgotten. On a quiet August afternoon in 1966, high in the hills overlooking Rio de Janeiro, a young boy searching for his kite stumbled upon a sight so strange, so unsettling, that it would go on to haunt investigators for decades. Lying on the grass, side by side, were the bodies of two men, dressed neatly in suits, raincoats, and polished shoes. Their hands were folded across their chests, and over their faces, each man wore a solid lead mask. Investigators arrived quickly, but the scene offered more questions than answers. There were no signs of violence, no struggle, no weapons, and no explanation for why the men were lying on a remote hillside. Beside them, officers found an empty water bottle, a strange homemade notebook, and a small packet containing 2 damp towels. Inside the notebook was a cryptic message written in shaky handwriting. It read, "Be at the designated place at 16:30. Take the capsules. Wait for the mask's signal." None of it made sense. The men were identified as Mano Pereira da Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana, 2 electronic technicians from a small city in Brazil. According to their families, they had left home 2 days earlier, saying they were going to buy equipment for work. They boarded a bus heading toward Rio, carrying only what they needed for a short trip. But instead of checking into a hotel or visiting a supplier, they purchased the lead masks from a man who made them by hand, bought raincoats despite the warm weather, and were later seen by witnesses climbing the steep hillside where they were eventually found. The autopsy revealed almost nothing. Toxicology tests were inconclusive, partly because the bodies had been exposed to the sun for so long. There were no injuries, no clear cause of death, no sign that the men had been forced to take anything. They had simply laid down, placed the masks over their faces, and never gotten back up. The small reference to capsules in their notebook only deepened the mystery. Investigators dug deeper into the men's lives and found something else unusual. Mano and Miguel were part of a small group of technicians who reportedly believed in the possibility of contacting spirits or extraterrestrial entities through electronic means. They had experimented with homemade devices, radios, and techniques meant to reach what they called higher energies. Some acquaintances even said the pair believed they could perform out-of-body experiences or communicate with beings from beyond this world. The lead masks, according to some theories, were meant to shield their eyes from a blinding light, something they expected to see after taking whatever capsules the message referred to. Others believed the masks were symbolic, part of a ritual meant to open their minds or protect them during a spiritual experiment. But none of those explanations accounted for their deaths. Several investigators suggested that the 2 men had been deceived by someone who promised them a supernatural experience. Others suspected that the pair might have consumed a powerful substance, believing it would lift their consciousness, only to succumb to its effects. But if that was the case, why was there no container, no residue, no clear evidence of what they had taken? And why were the towels wet? Had they been instructed to use them for some kind of ritual purification, or to counter the heat of whatever drug they believed would enlighten them? One theory was more chilling than the rest, that the men had been part of an experiment gone wrong, manipulated by someone who understood their beliefs and fears. The hillside where they were found had no witnesses, no cameras, and no footprints leading away. If someone had been with them, that person vanished without leaving a trace. As the investigation continued, every lead seemed to dissolve. Witnesses contradicted one another. Timelines fell apart. The man who sold them the lead masks said they had given him precise instructions, as if they knew exactly what they wanted. But why? What were they preparing for? And who told them to go to that specific place at that specific time? The case only grew stranger as more details emerged. The phrase "protect metals" sparked endless debate. Some believed it referred to their equipment, others to their own bodies, or even to unseen energies they thought would interact with them. But no interpretation ever fully explained the scene. The notebook held no more entries, no explanation, no second page to unlock the meaning of the first. For decades, the mystery persisted. The hillside became a place of speculation, whispered rumors, and conspiracy theories. People claimed to have seen strange lights in the sky that week. Others insisted the men were part of a clandestine scientific test. A few believed they had attempted to reach something beyond the physical world and paid the ultimate price. But perhaps the most unsettling part of the lead mask's case is how carefully planned everything seemed. The suits, the raincoats, the exact time written in the notebook, the masks ordered in advance, the remote location chosen deliberately. Nothing about the situation felt random. These were not men who wandered into danger by accident. Whatever happened on that hillside, they believed they were preparing for something significant, something other people would never understand. And yet, after nearly 60 years, the truth remains maddeningly out of reach. There were no surviving witnesses, no recovered capsules, no confessions, and no evidence strong enough to point to a single explanation. Investigators passed the case down through generations, each hoping to find a missing clue that never appeared. To this day, no one knows what Manuel and Miguel truly expected to encounter on that hill. No one knows what signal they were waiting for, or what final moment drove them to lie down in silence. The masks still exist cold, heavy reminders of a secret the men carried to their graves. And whatever their last intention was, it remains locked in the shadows, a mystery sealed in